right. Well, excuse me. Starting up the stream here, or the recording for YouTube here in a minute. I'm gonna get Restream pulled up. A couple people tapping in on that. We appreciate you. The few, the strong, the dedicated. We appreciate you tapping in there. No lethal for this recording. It's gonna be just me. Man, I am on fumes. I've had like a 15-hour day, and that's no exaggeration. I've been pulling a lot of strings between work and car situational things, but getting it all figured out, thankfully. So I'm just on fumes. So I'm gonna hit local recording, re-explain myself and why I probably will not spend too much time on this card, other than the fact that it also isn't super fun card. I mean, there's some okay fights. We'll get into it, but yeah, I'm gonna make my efforts of making this fairly brief, quick, especially without lethal. Should be able to fly through this in no time at all, and yeah, we'll make it a great one. So, all right. What? God damn it. I'm going to blame No Lethal this week. All right, guys, welcome back. We got Lethal Toad, MMA. I'm MMA Toad. Lethal Hands Collectibles. He's MIA for this stream. A lot of shit going on. And I'll explain myself too. I am very tired. I am 15, 16 hours into my day on fumes. Basically, between juggling work that I missed earlier in the day, had to make up for, getting my car situation figured out. So, yeah, it's been a lot of go. Recapping last week, we still cashed out thanks to Walter Walker. He saved my night. A lot of parlays falling off with the no contest, which not necessarily losing money, but wasn't making as much as I anticipated. The long delayed, parlay with Diego Lopez. Very sad to see. Nonetheless, I'm not going to dog on the, Tom Aspinall like everybody else. It's bullshit. It's an illegal strike. And it's funny to see the community, both fighters and non-fighters, all weigh in on it, because it's really hard to defend, right? A blatant cheating, illegal thing that should be far more punishable than what it is, has been used and replicated by, some of these people at the top of the division. And nothing's ever really changed. Rules are warned before a fight begins. I'm not a fan of the system, so sometimes these refs will go out there and do a really good job and set a tone early in the prelims, and then fail to uphold that same standard to the more experienced, higher ranked, fighters. It's just so silly to me. So without further ado, we'll get into this UFC Fight Night. We're going back to the Apex, and yeah, it's been a fucking minute since we've been at the Apex, and I think this is a perfect card for that. Never really thought I'd see this as a main event on my bingo sheet, but I'm not to bitch. We have some really banger super fights cooking in the works, and pay-per-views, other than this last one, have been okay. It's been pretty good. It was supposed to be nice about the last one is, win or lose for Tom, we were supposed to get our heavyweight division back, and it's the most cursed division ever. So not going to have to deal with the blobs on this one. That's why Dana had him get it out of the way. And yeah, a lot of ladies on this card, I will admit, kicking things off the prelims. You got all these ladies, and then you got Phil Rowe. He just seems out of place. Phil Rowe, I think he'd be somewhere right there with Radke. Maybe the fight just before, maybe the fight after. He's definitely been there. I think he's deserved a little bit more love than what he's given here. I'm not really quite sure. I know he pulled upset, and I think the UFC was really counting on him to, yeah, you're really counting on this guy to just not win, and he absolutely did. So I'm a fan of Phil. I think he kind of fits that, same category, long range, rangy, good stamina, good duration. He's got a good jab. He's kind of like Neil Magny, literally. It's just not quite as like high ranked, but good. Kind of builds as the fight progresses. So we'll get up to that fight here. Just wanted to call that out on early prelims, and we'll get right into it. Again, no lethal this week, but thank you guys for still joining in. And yeah, much love to Lethal. If you guys want to get in, he's doing a killer giveaway. He's got a whole rainbow of Tai Tuivasa going into the JDM and Islam fight. Just a nice Australian representation. Obviously, he's rooting for JDM. I guess from a nationality standpoint, I actually don't know Lethal's pick on that. Islam, I personally want him to achieve it and move past Khabib, so no longer it's as much of a discussion like which between the two is actually better. I think it's Islam, with or without Khabib staying. All right, so moving into the early prelims, guys, and I'm just going to throw out like some random bet suggestions. I still don't have these props normally. Lethal has more than I have at this time. If it's a really big fight, typically the props drop a day early, but Thursdays for me, I should have all my methods, and I'll throw a couple long shots, a cycle every now and then. I don't do a true cycle. I'll do like 2 or 3 finishes. I don't really do a lot of decision-based props because I'd almost rather live bet and see if that first leg to knock out my decision is looking good from a money perspective. Which, let's recap that. Last week I took $100 jab at Delgado after that first round because his prop pretty much sat at the same. The fight started at 160 for me, and he was a negative 180 after the first round. I said, okay, well, I'll take that, I guess. And openly, Nathaniel Wood knows that he won the robbery. So outside of losing money on my end, I still feel more for the fighter. It's like that impedes more than just $100, and rankings are a big thing, and just trying to get yourself on some of those bigger cards. You worked for it, you saw it, you didn't get it, it's not right. So I was happy with Delgado's kicks. Nathaniel Wood definitely came back with some nice counter striking, made it a fight in the second round. But between 1 and 3, I don't know how you don't give that plus damage. I don't know how you don't give that to Delgado. So, all right, kicking into the early prelims this week. 7 minutes of me fucking jib-jabbing. All right, kicking things off. I think I'm going to go with the one. And this is just like an old, wise man's pick'em. But I'm going to go with the one that looks like a dude more. And I don't know if you guys are seeing what I'm seeing. Oh, you guys aren't even fucking scrolling with me, you fucking bitches. Here you go. Catch up. My bad. I had the wrong street open, y'all. I'm just sitting here with like the most random shit pulled up on the screen the whole time. But here we go. Here's the first fight. I'm going to go with the one that looks less like a lady. Now, is that left or right? Put it down in the comments. Thanks for tapping in. So, yeah, I'm going to go. One thing about Irene, she's not the biggest of girls, right? She's definitely a little stocky little Geo. But then you also have the fact that, Talita, she's just not. I don't know. She's not going to be as great. She's going to be throwing. She's not going to be as physically strong, I think. So I just think it's a tough step in. It's a tough step in fight. So yeah, I'm gonna take her to win, and I'll look at props when they get posted. Women's MMA methods get crazy, finishes in particular. And I also, if you really want to throw a fucking long shot, do a second, third round finish. Sometimes it's hard to do second, third round knockout or submission, but typically second, third round finish still hits pretty good too. So if you want a fun little early long shot, women's MMA by finish is a long shot, but then also to get the fighter in the later rounds, it adds some extra juice. So we've been hitting a few of those. So I might kick off and do one like that where the dude just beats the shit out of the girl. So all right, next fight on the card, we got Phil Rowe taking on KO. Phil Rowe, definitely more veteran, and right now the unks at the barbecue are showing up, so I like Phil Rowe for that reason. But yeah, Sook's got that power that at this point in career for Phil, we know he's susceptible to it, but he's also pretty grit. I like his range, the way he works it. 6'3", you're gonna be a big sniper in this fight. Do not count Phil Rowe out. I'll be paying attention to his live prop. I expect Sook to have an edge in the striking overall. He'll be the one exploding across the void, trying to set something up. But I like this one as a car crash, and I like this one not going to the judges. Just something about this fight will, I think, give us something early. Maybe that's why Dana threw it on there, because the other three fights totally have potential to not be as exciting. So there you go. Phil might come in and save the day, or KO might as well. From me liking a fighter standpoint, I want Rowe to win. Me picking not emotionally, I'm going to go with KO, but be rooting for Rowe with some money and as a small sprinkle upset, because his I'm sure his like round props are going to be pretty fucking nuts. But we'll pay attention with him live, or unless there's good value in the KO method, knockout or decision, because he can game and be tough. So I'll probably, on the safer side of things, look at fight to not go to the judges here, but more than likely by knockout. So all right, next fight on this card, we got Montserrat taking on Arlene. She's actually pretty tough. I like Elise. She goes fucking after it. Some people are like, who's that? And then you pull her up and they're like, oh yeah, dude, she kind of about it. She's not too bad in terms of being the gritty and shit. Each girl here, simply put, needs to win. But I gotta trust in the experience, the game, the veteranship of Elise, man. I think that she's willing to risk it more, higher levels of opposition, and I think she holds her own on her feet. So we'll see. And her grappling has moments. But Montserrat, again, she looks like she's actually a pretty moderate underdog. So if you hammer a moderate underdog women's MMA method and you fuck with rounds, you just give up your cycle parlays and your long shots that will cash out just about the same, if not better. So if you really think that Montserrat could pull the upset, Elise has been submitted and lost by decision, but she's never been hit by knockout. Yeah, so, but yeah, women's MMA, it's hard to be so specific with rounds and things when more times than not they go to the judges, right? I'm gonna take Elise as my overall pick there. All right, moving up the card. Got Ketlin Vieira taking on Norma Dumont. I like Dumont here. I like her striking. I like her stand-up. Ketlin's definitely capable of hurting these girls, but she's not as technical. I think she just, I don't know. She's had a lot of moments in fights where you're just waiting for something more and you never quite get it. And she struggled with just very low levels of opposition. Norma's at least been there with far more dominance in the fights that she's winning. And we got some solid names like Irene Aldana, very good name still. I know she's had a rough go and she thinks it's cool and emo to get split open and fucking, ooh, it's my blood. But, you know, before Irene started thinking it was cool to lose, she was actually kind of a little gangster when Grasso was popping off. She had a nice little TKO win, I think, at Noche. But anyways, the first one. Yeah. Not a bad. There's Carol Rosa. It's a great win. Aspen Ladd. Obviously, you lose to Macy, but that's when Macy. Okay, I don't know why I'm going down this fucking rabbit hole of this shit, but you get what I'm saying. Like, Norma Dumont, she's been there. Very, very good. She's not quite a finisher, at least in the octagon, but she's, yeah. That's one there if you really want to go fucking batshit crazy. The fact she's not out getting finishes, besides 2 submissions, those props should clap. But physicality of Ketlin is something that will keep her alive in this fight, and I think she's actually, you know, capable of a finish. But I don't think she's going to be winning the rounds if she gets one. So for that reason, Norma Dumont, take her by decision. Or else we just see something I'm very surprised by. And also probably take that one over 1.5 would be mega safe, I'd say, just about. Or maybe fight to start the third round versus not start, which is sometimes another way of sprucing up a finish that you're very confident is going to hit, but it's going to pay a little more than sweating those full 15 minutes instead. Which I'd like to do more on a parlay piece, but if there's a good line there on that not to have a third round and you give me plus money, I might lay chalk, depending that. All right, so moving up the card, we got Dante Johnson taking on fucking Dumas. Well, you know, the fight has not happened yet. I'm anticipating pulling out the red marker and crossing this fight out because Dumas, in the midst of cutting weight, went for a run, saw fucking Jewel, a painting, bust through the fucking window, you know, got all the Joker and the goons to start loading up the van, and then he wanted to get into the vault, and just Dumas has to get into the octagon. It's got to lock behind him. Bruce has to call out his name. He can't pull a Chris Barnett and blow out his knee. Like, he's got to fight. And then I'll go, oh my God, this guy's fighting again. So, I know what they're trying to do. Get that last fight out of the way. Or 2, or whatever that contract looks like. And yeah, I think he's out of here unless he actually starts showing up and getting fantastic finishes. But, some legality things are probably going to play a factor. I can't see him being too active. And, I don't know. UFC, I know they let their fighters do whatever the fuck they want and say whatever the fuck they want. And they're just their own world, right? But at some point, I wonder how the partnership with TKO is going to weigh in on the roster itself. I don't know if someone like Dumas is going to be here for a good time or a long time, but yeah, I think he's here for at least this fight. I think it locks in, and yeah, I'm going to expect a fantastic fucking finish by Dante Johnson in the first round. This guy, I had to go back, watch some more tape on him other than Contender, and man, he gets after it. He's in like one of those new generational, talents that we are more than familiar with now, but it's still fun to discover them every time they come along. So the ceiling for him, I'm expecting, is better than Dumas. I'll have to see what the rankings look like. I don't want to rush to top 15. I want some of these guys to really just enjoy the ride and level up and be ready for those giant steps. And yeah, I think Johnson will be a fun one to keep an eye on. All right, moving up the card, we got Timothy Kwamba taking on Chang-Ho Lee. I like Lee a lot. He's good at mixing. He's got a good clinch game, good mix with his knees. But let's just be fair, he gets it done mostly with the hands. And yeah, you can't put yourself out there too, because he's not against choking you out as well. Timothy definitely leans more on his striking. I haven't really been super impressed, whereas to Lee, it's like more recognizable names and still looking really good. So without trying to overthink this one, just real quick on a pick standpoint, obviously I'm going Dante Johnson. Next is easy, Chang-Ho Lee. We'll look at that fight in particular as one of my parlay pieces this week. So we'll look at finish, probably staying away. I'm looking at money line to secure early, as long as there's good value there. And as always, we keep an eye on live props. So there's that. All right, moving up the card, Kevin Christian taking on Billy Elikana. Billy, this dude, he also kind of pulled some bullshit, big upset in one of his last fights. And it's Isban, if I have that name correctly, the Middle Eastern guy that got big upset. Yeah, Ebo. Okay, yeah, and he lost to Bogdan, which everyone, for the most part, like I've been saying, gets ripped apart by this guy. He's a big factor in Walker being as good as he is. So, and I recapped that last week's prediction as well, if you've heard that. That is funny enough, the kryptonite in this fight for, Billy. He's been submitted just that one time by Bogdan. And in no way is Kevin Christian a Bogdan, right? But he's got a little bit of a ground game. So I like this fight by finish here. Obviously, I'll be looking at Kevin by submission more than likely there as a nice upset. But I think I'm going to ride with Billy. Or what's the odds on this one? I don't know. Billy. Yeah. So, yeah, he's like a 3-1 favorite. I expected, but yeah. I think he gets it done with his hands. I think we get a nice knockout. Or we get a tap. All right, guys. How we doing? You guys doing good? You guys happy with the pace? I'm okay with it. We're at 20 minutes. We've been yip-yapping, and now we're climbing up. If you're enjoying the show, again, appreciate you guys tapping in. Lethal and I are fucking pumped for these upcoming cards. Once my car shit's figured out, I'm not doing as much with my disc golf league right now, although that shit's been keeping me occupied outside of work a little bit too. Getting carpooled a bit because the fucking wheels are down, but did some nice test driving today. And because I had such a crazy September and most of October, the 30 units have played a big factor in me being able to just kind of prepare to make some additional purchases and just the follow-up stuff now, especially that I got the car out of the way, right? Everything you do's got a cost. So it's been fun going back and forth with Lethal. I think we keep each other pretty honest. But maybe if you're hearing this now, you're feeling that way too. Feel free to include your picks in chat. I don't give a fuck if we're different in that much. My favorite thing is like a fight we're both confident to finish, and while people are failing all their cycle parlays and shit, I'm making like a like a finish parlay. And I find those to hit a lot more consistently, and that's been a big factor. And last week should have been one on that main event. So, yeah, assuming we had a normal fight where people didn't break rules. So, appreciate you guys tapping in. Let's keep fucking moving. But yeah, let's open up some of these chats. I didn't include this week's IG, but we'll have IG and some others rotating here very soon. I haven't been fully committed to the setup because I have like practically my entire house is half packed, and I've been trying to consider moving now that I started up a new spot, new gig, new job, and I know what work and home should look like distance wise now. So plus you know, it's sometimes very nice just to start fresh. So I promise once I get some of those bigger life things figured out, we're going to dive and do a lot more into the UFC betting side of things publicly. I'm going to make some graphics, and I'll put it really out there and make it transparent so you guys can hopefully hit with us, because Lethal and I have been fucking doing pretty good. So, okay, moving up the card, we got Nascimento taking on Cody Dern. Cody Dern, he's been kind of thrown at the wolves in his career, man. He's game. Like, he can pull those upsets. Not that long ago, he did pull up an upset against Matt Schnell. And a very impressive finish. It was very good on his end. And you look around it, yeah, he's losing. But some of these guys are fucking good, as we know. Like, I like Ochoa. Joshua Van's getting ready to fight for a belt. You got Bruno Silva, quite proven. And then Tagger. Like, yeah, he's not getting any fucking easy fights either. So just know Durden, he's as dog as any on a card. He's always there. Could happen for him, but I think Nascimento gets this one via submission on the ground. And we know that Dern's been having a hard time there in his career. He's lost 50% of his fights by submission. So I think this matchup is intentional. I think my boy's getting fed to the wolves. And so I like this fight by finish either way. I could see Durden hitting an upset knockout or Nascimento with that sub. All right, moving up the card. Excited for one of the fighters, despite he's been a little back and forth recently. And that's going to be Buffalo. Fucking Chuck Buffalo, Charles Radke. He had a bit of aura here for a minute. He had some quick things to say on the mic, was coming out, hitting some flash knockouts, was doing his thing. And as he also ventured up in the ranks and was stepping in and having pretty good activity, he also, sure, he may have lost some of these fights, but man, he's still fighting some good ass guys. So you got Carlos Prates, which in my opinion, he's definitely like a top 5 ish guy, right, in that division. He's up there. But yeah, Mike Malott, who also just showed up and looked fantastic against fucking Kevin Holland, who has been very hit and miss, sure. So you could say it was Kevin Holland on an off night, but nah, I mean, Mike looked very confident in some of those things since his loss, his comeback win. It seemed like he had a lot more confidence in his stand-up game, his kicks, everything kind of was very fluent. Now, I like Buffalo in this fight. Get another flash knockout. I think Daniel's going to try to challenge him on the feet. We're going to get a car crash. This is another fight I like by finish. Yeah, this is absolutely going to be a car crash. And we know Radke can get dropped, so understand the 4-1, favorites on this pick for Radke in terms of Tapology bettors, but if his value's in the negative 100, 200, I definitely will parlay him. If it's in the negative 100, I might, lay some chalk on that. So we'll see. Fucking tone in my throat. There it is. All right, listen. Yeah, we're already up to the main card. So again, thanks for hanging out. Yeah, Ubisoft fan tapping in on the YouTube side. Um, and we've had some random lurkers in and out, so hope you guys are doing good. All right, again, not a super fun card. This is at Apex for the reason that it is. You would surely hope after the early prelims and the prelims, like you would be getting something like banger, top 5 or top 10 worthy fight in each division. And not quite. Costa's got that ranking, number 6 ranking, but he also was just fraud checking a lot of these prospects past that test and said, okay, I guess I'm climbing the ranks. So we'll get up to him here in a minute. That is a fight I'm looking forward to, because this Ante dude's a fucking monster. But yeah, I think things finally pick up here and the fights become very entertaining. It's just we're still lacking that big it on this card, unfortunately. So kicking things off on the main card, Isaac Delgarian taking on Vale. Delgarian's a gamer. I think this what's this dude's nickname? Something goofy as shit. The Cuban Problem. I think the Cuban Problem's like one of these guys that also is pretty well rounded. So it'll be a good back and forth in this fight. But I think Isaac is just gonna show his veteranship against tougher guys and just winning, being more more output. I could see him having some top control time as well in this fight. So should be a scrappy one, but yeah, I think Vale would have to pull a big upset. If I'm not mistaken, I think Vale's got a bit of size in terms of height. Let me pull that up. What's the height differential in this fight? Yeah, just 2 inches. Oh, look at the reach, though. Damn. Yeah, so Delgarian's even got the reach. So, yeah. Feeling pretty good about Delgarian. He, on Tapology, is the 45% pick. So, could be a good bark. We'll see what the props look like when I go to look at his methods when they get posted tomorrow. All right, moving up the card. Jeremiah Wells taking on Thimba Grimbo. Thimba, he's been very, very hit and miss, and I think he's still got pretty moderate following. I know that it's a lot of greens here, and some people look at green-red ratios, but if you really sincerely watched his wins and everything early on, like he would devote a fight to his coach who just lost like a loved one and go out and just have a very bad decision and win. Just boring, kind of a letdown. So people are still really high on him. That's the only reason why I stopped to point that out. Jeremiah Wells, I mean, he's also been another one of these guys that, yeah, he has his good nights and his off nights like any other fighter. But I'd at least say in his last 4 fights, 3 of them, he didn't look all that bad. So, I'm going to go with Wells on this as another fade, another upset. Yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna do like weigh-ins and really think on it. I need to see how each of these guys look, but as far as like for sure betting, yeah, I'm definitely gonna put something on Wells versus Thimba because he's just been kind of a choke to me. He's got to prove it. He's got to be a little bit more dominant at this level, or else he isn't really going to go much. And we're seeing this guy's ceiling raise. He's getting started. So, shout out to him and Dwayne Johnson. That's all he's like really blown up for. It's not his fighting. All right, finally up to your co-main event. While Cortez taking on Ante Delija. Dude, this guy comes fucking out swinging bombs, and I like this matchmaking because Cortez he's used to that pressure. He's used to people throwing at him and just kind of putting his head off to the side and using his physicality, his grappling to kind of wear on some of these guys and drag a fight out late where he could really let that snap go. He's got a wonderful jab. He's persistent with it late in the fight, so he can start to play catch up. I think Waldo's a great second, third round fighter. Typically, that first round, he's the one surviving the storm, you know. So I see Costa still being very live in this fight. Um, he's another one that he's proven himself against some pretty good fucking guys out the gate. And it wasn't just I came out that one night and did this one nice thing. Look at me. If you can go out, have 5 or 6 great fights, and it starts to be a little bit more commendable. So that's where I look at Costa's being a little faded this week. And yeah, I'm with you guys too. I got the fight to end by a knockout. There just may not be so much value on the Sante guy if everyone's picking him, right? If he's a negative 100 knockout, probably not doing nothing with that, right? So we'll look at distance, fight not to start. Third round's a little risky here because it's not like Costa's a first round killer himself. The fights, even if he's winning, typically he's dragging him out, and he might edge to a decision. He's not someone like if we had two antes, these dudes would just car crash in the middle and it's easy money all night, but you probably wouldn't make much either. So is it truly worth the risk versus a parlay leg? That's where I look at that as like a boost. Drop a heavy 2 legs, some salt, some chalk, some jello, some I don't know. I'm just coming up with shit there. Drop the bag, whatever you call that shit, your cake. But yeah, this main event here, I'm pretty indifferent on it, and I don't know props or bets or odds. I'm just going to talk about it from more like a stance of who I think sincerely wins. I like all the things that Onama's doing. I've liked all those things that I've seen Garcia do. Garcia, yeah, dude's super fucking live in all of his fights. He's on a bit of a streak in terms of consistency and just coming out doing his thing. Been killing the last 5 years in Onama. I think he's got a lot of room for improvement still. Not nearly as technical, but he possesses that power. And so we know he can get it done. So over 5 rounds, I think Garcia just has to be a little bit more evasive and more lax. And I think Onama, this will be a good one for weight cutting, just to pay attention to Onama because he could have a rough cut and Garcia could really rip and open up. I like Steve Garcia's boxing, ripping to the body, doesn't really just headhunt, where a lot of people just get caught out because of that too. They're ripping to the body and working on some kicks. Onama's kicks are a problem. I will mention that. Onama, if he's sitting back out of the range of the boxing and just kind of working off some range and snapping some shit out there and feigning the takedowns and things like that, yeah, his kicks are going to add up late and could fuck up Garcia over 5 rounds. So Garcia's got to be trying to check some of those because Onama will chop your leg off if you let it happen for the first 3 rounds. And then this is a 5-round fight, right? So that's your main event. It's nothing too spectacular, but yeah, happy to have another card. I don't care that it's not the worst one, or sorry, like the best one in the world. For me, it's still one less week that we have to go without, especially with it being like Halloween and shit, and the fact they've been on the road as much as they were. I'm happy we're going from all this road time and pay-per-views and shit to finally just now getting back to the apex for a card like this, because it's a good, all right, let's get ready for another fucking caravan, you know what I mean? So hope you guys cash out with me on this card. Throw any questions my way. I'm going to be chilling out too. Not so much this weekend because the chick's going to be in town, but maybe next weekend we'll play some Battlefield 6. New free-to-play Battle Royale mode dropped in that. Got some other game modes that are fun. And then I started this RPG called Fellowship where it's just like WoW dungeon raiding. You just hop right in. You don't have to level. You just play. and it's kind of convenient for that. And you gotta do mechanics or you fuck your group up and die. So it's fun. Anyways, hope you guys are having a good rest of your week. And yeah, thanks for bearing with me. Sorry again, Lethal wasn't here. He's taking care of life. I've been taking care of mine too. So hashtag no sleep, y'all. Much love. We'll catch you next time. Join me over on IG. It's a little bit more active over there. We got a community. Got fighters, Neil Magny, Jazz Divius. I think Terrence McKinney's in it. You got Matty Betts. Got Parlay MMA. Some pretty good faces in the community. Obviously, Lethal's over there. And we got some pretty good collectors and kind of a little bit of everybody, right? Fighters, fans, collectors. Aaron Jeffries in the group. So a little bit of everybody. Daniel Kelly's in the group. That's another fun one. Run Championship. BJJ champ or former. So come on in. Share some love. We keep it pretty chill. And win or lose, support our own. And it's easy because you naturally like these fighters, or at least for me, I do anyway. So it feels more genuine when it's like someone loses that you sincerely wanted to win. That's where I tell Lethal all the time, like, man, it's such a emotional pick for me this week. But yeah, it's nice to see him win too, and that's when he can say, hey, I told us so. So we've had a good theme on that. Cashing out with some pretty good underdog picks the last couple weeks. They've been hitting quite a bit. Dogs are barking. I pointed out a good like 4 or 5 on this card that I think have potential. We'll see if any of them hit. But as always, guys, thanks again. Cheers. Much love.